Okay, in my house, aside from my baseball cards and a lot of hoodies with logos on it, I'm an avid reader. I am a collector of books.
Mhm.
I probably have I have 3 full bookcases in my family room of my sports books.
Nice.
Nothing else. And I got media guides all over the house and in the garage, etc., from covering baseball and the NBA and NFL football, obviously, and my days in the NHL. So I've kept a bunch of that. But I probably have, I'd say, 400 books in my family room. Not my, I don't call it my man cave, my family room.
Okay.
And this baseball Topps baseball card pictorial history is one of the marquee ones. But I started collecting when I was really young. My dad had baseball guides, and I didn't know very much about them. But Spalding Baseball Company, the one that made the balls,
Yeah.
and another company called Reach, started putting out baseball annual guides, year by year records of all the major league teams and all the minor leagues. And when my dad passed, I got a collection of them. He collected them from the early 1950s to about 1960. And when it passed, I took them. Well, then I got addicted to collecting baseball history memorabilia, mostly books. And then I started to go to these baseball card trading stores and had a couple baseball card conventions, one in Phoenix, there was one in San Diego. And I'd walk through and see all these other collectors, and they'd be selling some of the stuff. And I found some of these baseball guides. And I went to another store, and he had a collection. Somebody, an old retired old ball player who lived and died in Phoenix, just gave it to him. I said, "Hey, can I buy these, or can I trade something for him?" So yeah, he didn't care. They were just books. So I got them. I have the baseball card collection now of the Spalding Reach annual baseball guides from, I'd say, 1936 into 1960s.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to start here. This is the oldest publication that I have.
Oh my God, look at that.
This is a Spalding baseball guide. I had a member of the Cleveland Indians front office give this to me. This is the front section. It's a World Series. This date line is 1933. That's when this book was printed.
Wow.
So this has all the baseball records of every league that played baseball in 1933, Major League, and this is the minor leagues. So this is the oldest piece of a baseball publication that I have, dateline 1933.
Oh my God.
So
I mean, they were probably compiling all of the statistics by hand. There was no computers involved then.
yeah,
I mean, that's amazing.
and all this I was done. It's all at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Now, we flash back to memories. So as I collected these books, and this one is from 1937, I believe. This is the Spalding Baseball Guide, 1937. And it has all the statistics of every guy who played baseball that given year, whether they were with the Brooklyn Dodgers or whether or not they were the Boston Braves or whomever. And here's the ad on the back for Spalding.
Right on.
Okay. So I started to collect this and I stumbled across this. And then I started to do research. I did not know very much about my dad being a minor league pitcher. He was in the Philadelphia A's organization, 1930s, college educated man. So then it dawned on me, if I have these books, I might be able to find his pitching records. So I went and did research on this book. And this is the Mountain State League, which was a Class C league, lower minor leagues, in 1938, I believe. And here I am looking, and I found his record, his pitching record. It's got a little dot next to it with his name.
Nice.
He won 14 games
Really?
in Huntington, West Virginia in 1938, I believe it was.
That's cool.
So I was able to find this, and then I went from there, and I went to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown in the archives, and I was able to find his entire pitching record from the mid 1930s until he went off to World War II.
Really?
Absolutely stunning stuff.
That is very, very cool.
I found one picture of him, a team photo. I don't have it with me now, but I still have it of him. He was 6'4", 6'5". He's the tallest guy on the team, standing in the back row of this team in Huntington, West Virginia in the 1930s.
Wow.
How cool is that?
That is really cool.
And then, I love to read baseball and history of baseball. And because I worked in the media, I had access to a lot of publications. And there was never a phone number I would not call to try to see if I could line up an author. And I've interviewed all the great baseball authors from Roger Kahn and on in baseball. So I have a huge collection of historical books. This is one that's going to take me a while to read. This is about Judge Landis,
Oh, yeah.
the commissioner who suspended the Black Sox, 1919. And this is a whole thing about his life. And as you can see, awful lot of pages here, awful lot of reading. If I don't show up for a week, you'll know what I'm doing.
Right.
But this is just some of my favorite stuff that in my quiet time or when I retire, I will be able to go back in my library and read things that I never had time to read before. And I'm just a huge baseball historian. I have 7 different books that were authored about the life and times of Jackie Robinson by all different authors, some of them very, very famous and just fascinating. And I got a book that I was able to get through the Dodgers about Branch Rickey wrote a book called The Dodger Way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's just really neat. And some of these you can get through the library. If you go to the library, we're in here in Rancho Bernardo, you go to the library, John, they'll go into the system and they'll tell you whether or not they have the book Judge and Jury about Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Or they'll tell you in the system, we have 6 different books by different authors about Jackie Robinson's life and times. And then they'll order it for you and you can get it on loan at the library. Library is a great resource. People have now forgotten that. Everybody dabbles on the internet. But I use our library system all the time to go search out publications because you don't want to buy every book out there, but if you have access to at least see it,
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's my collection. So when you come to my house, John, I apologize if it looks in disarray. It's my library. It's not my man's cave. It's in my family room. But like I said, I got 400 books, baseball, some NFL history, a little bit of NBA, a bunch of great historical stuff on hockey, even some stuff on the history of NASCAR. Just, it's fascinating. What I need is more days off. What I need is more rainy days where you can't go outside in San Diego and say,
Right.
okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read and read and then read some more. Now you got a lot of books here.
Yeah. Well, I just want to comment a little bit on that picture of Kennesaw Mountain Landis. That guy's a hard ass. He's a tough looking dude.
He was,
and he was ruthless. I mean, unbelievable. So yeah.
Well, coming out of the Black Sox scandal, the brief history is, he was a state senator, I think, from Kentucky. He was also a racist. But baseball had just staggered through the Black Sox scandal, and the integrity of the game was a big, big issue. And they knew he was a baseball fan, and they knew of him, and they knew what a tough leader he was. And Judge Landis had them by the shirt. You want me? You give me a lifetime contract. And he was a baseball commissioner from the outset of the Black Sox scandal and the trial in 1920 till he passed away. I want to say 1944, 1945, he passed away. He ran that thing with an iron fist, but he was also a racist. He did not want Jackie Robinson in baseball. And when Branch Rickey and even the young Bill Veeck came up with the ideas of integrating, he says, no, we're not going to even have that conversation. But he was still great for baseball.
Wow.
Because he brought its integrity back.
Yeah. I remember, that was the thing is when we had, I think Bowie Kuhn was a relatively, had a lot of integrity, I think, right? But then when Bud Selig became the commissioner, it lost the integrity. But you always go back in history, and everyone knows that name, Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Unbelievable. The stuff you got, it's funny how, everybody has their own thing in their life. You go to some people's house and in their family room, their man cave. I mean, they might have philosophy books or history books, but we have sports books, and it's great. I mean, this is just makes our life all the better.
It brings back really special times. Also proves what a real special time the game was to society. All right, what are your quick books here that you got that you really like?
Well, this is one called Baseball Letters that was an author that you interviewed
Yep.
back in the day. And this was an author that wrote letters to various baseball players, and they wrote letters back to him. And they're all signed here. I mean, this was an incredible interview you had. And then he was doing a book signing at a Barnes & Noble in Mission Valley, and I went down there and got it. And this was a great book. It's an easy read, but he would like send a letter to Ted Williams, and then Ted Williams would write him a letter back, and he published them all there.
I sent letters as a kid for a couple years, handwritten letters to baseball stars.
Nice.
I got Ted Williams' actual glossy photo, his autograph in pen and ink, not a stamp, in pen and ink.
Cool.
And I would, dear Mr. Williams, my name is, I live here. I have been a longtime baseball fan. Could you please send me your autograph? And I would put my home address on Long Island.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would include a return envelope with a 2-cent stamp back in the day. And these guys responded. Now, modern day players can't do it. There's too many people. And I've walked in the clubhouse with each guy has a cubicle for mail. It's all stuffed.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how these poor guys have time to go through it and send stuff. But I had a lot of players. And I got Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, Stan Musial's autograph. I also got autographs from people you would not know. Luis Arroyo, Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher, was 3-11 in 1954, and yet he took time to send me his autograph and a picture. So, like I said, I couldn't remember wedding anniversaries or birthdays. I could tell you, I could just quote you Luis Arroyo's record. He wound up being a very good relief pitcher with the Yankees down road.
I can just picture it. It's like, memo from Little Hacksaw to the Splendid Splinter. I need your autograph.
And it was, I'm in a shocked. I used to sit on the doorstep of our house on Long Island and wait for the mailman to come. And I would do this all during the summer. And I'd have days I get 3 autographs. I was, at 2 cents a stamp. Yeah, I was spending money doing it. I was going to the mailbox all the time and writing 5 letters at a time. It's not like a computer. You send out a form letter now.
Yeah.
Here it's in pencil. I've got one of the letters. One of the players wrote back. He was a minor league pitcher by the name of Don Lee I think it was with the Red Sox. And Don Lee wrote, I don't think he had a glossy picture because he hadn't been in the majors very long, but I'd seen him on TV and I liked him. And he sent my letter back, but he autographed it at the bottom of the letter.
Nice.
Cool.
Good
and
stuff.
that stuff's in my closet too. So I have to come over. If you want to help me clean my family room closet out, we'll find my memorabilia. Okay, what other books you got here?
This one here was really good. It's Game of Shadows.
And Barry Bonds?
Barry Bonds, the Balco scandal. And, Balco, that was making the steroids, was in my hometown of Burlingame. And the guy that ran Balco, I found out later that he was, I think, a trombone player or a bass player for a Tower of Power. Remember that band? But this was really interesting. And it talked about Bonds and Sheffield and all the juicing that went on and a lot of the speculation about why Barry Bonds did what he did. A lot of people thought it was a reaction to Sosa and McGuire and all the attention they got in '98. So what a great book that was.
This is written by the 2 guys at ESPN. And these are the same guys that wrote the NFL book about concussions.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. You ought to look that one up too. Next book. This is about local history.
Yeah, this is like a coffee table book, and it's just San Diego Padres history. It's like an encyclopedia of all kinds of Padres stuff. I mean, this is something you can just open it up and just read back in the day about not just when they built Jack Murphy Stadium or back when it was San Diego Stadium, but this goes back to when it was a minor league team.
No, Pacific Coast League Padres are really good.
Yeah, and like right here, I opened it up. There's a picture of Tim Flannery, but just the stories in here that are just marvelous. So these kinds of coffee table books are really cool. And they're really good conversation pieces as well.
And, if you go on, I guess, Amazon.com, you can probably find these where you can buy these, or do what I do. You go to the library and say, can you look up, do you have this book San Diego Padres encyclopedia.
Mhm.
And is it in the system? Can I place an order to borrow it and read it?
Yeah.
And they'll go look through all the libraries in San Diego County, city library system, county library system, see if they can find it.
Yeah.
And the last one, this is all about minutia.
This
You really got to be an addict to want to do this.
This is a crazy one. This is the Baseball Chronicle, and this is just loaded with photography and history. If you want to open that up there, just cool stuff. I mean, you can get lost in this kind of thing, and spend hours on a Saturday afternoon going through this, and it's the memories, right? And it's not just the memories of the game and your relationship with the game, but it's like the romance of baseball and the Americana angle to it that I think is so special. And I think that's why it's great that we're talking about this on Independence Day holiday.
Okay, before we go to the next segment,